Hi everybody, welcome back to College Writing. We are in week 3 and I wanted to touch base with you before you were too far along in this week's assignments. First, let me apologize for the mess behind me. My son is home from college for the week and so his bed is in our office and so it's a little bit of a mess back there. So I do apologize for that. I wanted to start by telling you good job on your essays. You did a phenomenal job. I hope that the way that Moody has set up the assignments and how you're doing these little steps along the way, I hope that by the time you approached your final draft over the weekend that it was really not too difficult. That's kind of the intent, is to walk you through it so that by the time that you write your final draft, you're really just working on those areas that your classmates have suggested and I've suggested to improve your essays. But they were really, really good. What I was looking for this week were really the areas that we focused on. Of course, free of typos and spelling errors, which they really were for the most part. Correct MLA formatting. I was a little bit loose on things this week because we didn't focus on that as much, but next week I will be making sure that everything's done correctly. I made some notes on some of your essays that maybe had some things in the header backwards, so just kind of pay attention to those. And I did send you a link for proper MLA formatting that you can look at if you just want to double check. I also looked for the use of descriptive words and phrases because we did focus on that with the Langston Hughes essay and how that will really enliven your writing. So you can take something that is just fine, but just by adding a few words, really make it come alive. So I looked for those things, and those were really the main requirements of the essay. And just that it flowed and that it adhered to the thesis, that you had a clear thesis, a clear topic. And then that your essay flowed logically. So again, I'm almost done grading those, so there's a few left, and I should have those posted hopefully by tonight, if not by tomorrow. Moving into this week, you have some required reading again, and you have a video to watch, a little bit from Field of Dreams, the movie, so make sure you do that. And then your assignments for this week will be like your assignments the first week. You're going to be writing, for your second essay, you're going to be writing a definition essay. And so all of your assignments this week are going to be leading up to that essay. So just make sure you do all of your assignments, and by the time you write that essay at the end of week 4, it shouldn't be much of a problem. It should be pretty easy. And this week is normal discussion board. Last week was a little weird with the earlier deadline, but this is a normal deadline, Friday at 11:59 p.m. It's not clear, and I need to email Moody and ask them to add a little phrase that it's not clear that you need to respond to 2 classmates by Monday night. So make sure that you do that. You are pretty much for the course of this class always responding to 2 classmates in one way or another after the Friday posting or the Thursday posting. And then all of your assignments will be due by 11:59 p.m. on Monday night, Central Time. I want to give you some suggestions for your writing. And let me backtrack. When I go through and I am reading your essays, your final drafts, what I'll do is I will make notes if I see things that are repeated that are maybe weakening your writing. Those aren't necessarily things where I am taking off on your grade. I just want you to be aware of those things so that you can try to improve on those things as we go through the course, and then also just in general. Because if it's something that I see repeated in an essay here, then it's most likely something you're doing in all of your writing. So if I can help you kind of get a grasp of whatever that thing is, then I'd love to be of help. If there's something that I see that the group as a whole, or many people within the group are doing, then I'll bring it to the class. And so I do have a few things this week that I wanted to share with you. The biggest thing that I saw collectively was the use of fragmented sentences. And a fragmented sentence is basically a sentence that's missing a subject, sometimes a verb, but mostly a subject. And I think the reason that we have a bit of a hard time with fragmented sentences is sometimes we write the way that we talk. We don't realize it, but we actually talk in fragmented sentences all the time. So, there was my dog. So I'm going to give you a couple examples, but then there's also a link that it's 2 or 3 pages. It's a PDF, and it gives you all different examples of where you might have problems with fragmented sentences. So if I have made notes on your essay, I would highly advise reading that and seeing if it helps you. The 2 examples that I put in the hard copy of this announcement, the first one is Joe walked outside into the cool of the morning, period, and felt like there might be rain, period. Well, that second phrase, we know that it's Joe who's feeling like it might rain, but there's no subject in that second phrase. There's no Joe, there's no he, there's no subject, so that falls into the fragmented sentence category. And that could be rectified very easily by putting a comma after morning and a lowercase a. Joe walked outside into the cool of the morning, comma, and felt like there might be rain. That solves it. Or you could revise that phrase to make sure that a subject goes in there. Joe, he, whatever you'd want to do. Second example is Molly leaves for work 15 minutes earlier than she needs to, period. Worrying about being late. That's a pretty extreme example. But again, you could do a couple different things with that. Worrying about being late is a fragmented sentence. There's no subject in there. There's no Molly. There's no she. You could put a comma after earlier than she needs to, and say because she worries about being late. Or you could even put a semicolon after to. And say she worries about being late. So in each of those examples that I just gave you, you can either combine the 2 phrases, the full sentence and the fragmented sentence, with a comma or a semicolon to make it work, or you can just make sure that you add that subject in the second phrase. If this is confusing to you, make sure to look at that handout, because the handout breaks it down. And then at the very end of the handout, there's a section about this big that is like some simple tricks for figuring out if a sentence is a fragment or not. And one of them is to read your, let's say, your paragraph backwards. And it's amazing how just reading those sentences backwards, all of a sudden you'll go, oh, I see it right there. So check that out. Very helpful. And let's see, numbers. I saw a number of students who were using the numeral for numbers, let's say for the number 28 or 52, but you'll want to spell those out. And so in general, spell out numbers that can be expressed in 2 words. So if it's 3,552, well, that would be this long, right? So, but if it's 25 years old, you can spell out 25, it's 2 words. If it's 100, it's 2 words, so you spell it out. I gave you the Purdue link for that as well, which follows MLA. So just make note of that. It's not the end of the world, but especially if you're planning on moving beyond Moody and maybe pursuing another degree, you're going to want to pay attention to those things, because as you get into those higher level classes, they'll definitely catch you for those things. The last thing I wanted to share with you is kind of a pet peeve of mine. I shared with you how, in addition to Moody, I am an editor of Christian books, and so I edit all the time, and that's part of what you get with me. Is I really look at the specifics of wording and how things can be worded better, and for you guys, what simple things I can offer in a very short amount of time, because we only have 8 weeks together, that will drastically improve your writing. So one of my pet peeves is the word get, or any form of the word get. It's a verb. Get, got, have gotten, and you'll be amazed now that I've brought it up how often you see yourself using it, because everybody does, including me. I have to catch myself on it. So I gave you a couple examples. First, I need to get a gallon of milk at the store and then get my passport at the post office. In that one sentence, there's 2 uses of the word get. And what I do when I see a sentence like that is I just look at it and go, what other way can I say you need to get a gallon of milk at the store? I need to purchase it. I need to grab. I need to pick up. There's so many different words you can use that are much stronger than the word get. You can pick up your passport at the post office. You can't purchase a passport at the post office. But again, look, when you see that word get or got or have gotten, ask yourself, what other ways can I say this and communicate the same thing? I gave you a link that has a bunch of different ways that you can, different words and phrases, I think, for the word get. So just try it and see. And I'm going to keep highlighting them because I think that's the best way for us to really to realize that that's what we're doing. So if you get an essay back and you see highlights of get, got, what I'm trying to do is to help you see how frequently you use that and help you to be able to revise that in the future. Another word that you can do the same thing with is the word said. Especially a few of you used some dialogue in your assignment or in your essays last week, and instead of saying, Jane said the moon is bright, there are a million different ways that you can say said. Maybe not a million, but Jane pondered the moon is bright. Jane declared the moon is bright. So that's just another one of those words that a simple change will just bring your writing to life. So anyway, I hope those things help for this week. Again, if you have any questions, please email me. I do try to check frequently, but if you're not hearing back from me, give me a text, and I usually am able to respond pretty quickly. And I hope you're doing well, and I am praying for you, and we'll check in again in a couple of days. I'll send you a follow-up email and see how things are going. Okay? Take care. Bye.